Hello everyone, Mr. Milson here. Today we're going over part 2 in our second packet. This is systems of two or more linear inequalities. So last time we looked at a system where we just had two inequalities. Now we're saying what's going to happen if we have more than two. Some interesting things, some interesting shapes. So let's check it out. This first one is actually really nice because it's already set up in y mx plus b form, slope-intercept form. So all of these are ready to be graphed. We don't have to do any algebra in terms of setting these up. So I'm going to do this first one in blue. So I'm going to label this number 1. So number 1, we know that our y-intercept is at -4. So I'm going to put a point at -4. And our slope is +2. So we're going to go up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. And we're going to plot these points for this line. And I noticed that we don't have an equal to part, so this line has to be dashed. I'm going to do my best to make this a good dashed line going through all of these points. All right, that's pretty good. Then we said that after we have our line, we need to test a point. So let's test 0, 0. So we're going to test 0, 0 for our first equation. So when I plug in 0 for x and y, we're going to get 0 is greater than 2 times 0 minus 4. Well, 2 times 0 is 0, so 0 is greater than -4. Well, 0 is definitely going to be greater than any negative number, so this is a true statement. What does that tell us? Well, it tells us that the side with 0, 0 is what we would shade for this dashed blue line. But we're not going to shade it. We're going to just put indicator arrows. So I'm putting these arrows to say I would shade over here, but I'm not ready to make my final answer. We're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to look at our second equation. For our second equation, our y-intercept is at -3, so start at -3. Our slope is 1/2, so we're going to go up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2. Same thing in the opposite direction. This time, I have an equal to part, so this is a solid line, a lot easier to graph, so I can just connect all these in a line, and we're done. So now we need to test a point just like we did over here. So I'm going to say for my second equation, we're going to test 0, 0 again. So I plug in 0 for y, so greater than or equal to 1/2 times 0 minus 3. 1/2 times 0 is 0. 0 take away 3 is -3. So 0 is greater than or equal to -3. Greater than or equal to -3. So 0 is greater than a negative number. This is a true statement. That is a true statement. Because it's a true statement, we know we want to shade the side with 0, 0. So 0, 0 is over here. So we would shade over here for our black line, but I'm going to just put indicator arrows saying which way we should shade. Good. Now let's go on to our third equation. I'll do this guy in red. Our y-intercept is at +1, and our slope here is -1/4. So we're going to go down 1, right 4. Well, I can't go any more that way. I'm going to go up 1, left 4. Good. And we don't have an equal to part. We need to make this a dashed line. It's going to be a little bit harder. I'm going to turn it sideways for a second. Try and make this a pretty decent dashed red line going through these points. It was all right. Could have been better. All right, but we get the idea. We see where this is going. Next, we have to determine, we need to test 0, 0 for that inequality. That looks a little bit better. So we're going to test, for our third inequality, we're going to test 0, 0. So when I test 0, 0, we're going to get 0 is less than -1/4 x plus 1. All right. So now, I didn't plug in 0 for x, so let's change that. So this one needs to be 0. -1/4 times 0 plus 1. I don't like that. I'm going to rewrite it. 0 is less than -1/4 times 0 plus 1. -1/4 times 0, that's just 0. It goes away. So 0 is less than 1. Well, that's definitely a true statement. 0 is always going to be less than 1. So we know we want to shade the side with 0, 0. So 0, 0 is the point right here. So for our red line, we're going to be graphing this way, shading this way. But I'm not going to graph. I'm just going to put my indicator arrow saying which way we're going to shade. So when you're deciding where the final area you want to shade for this, because we've done all of our work, we've graphed our 3 lines, we've done our statements and we kind of know which direction we want to be going in for each line, we need to determine where they're going to be for all of them. So when I do this, I'm going to look at the regions that they're not. There's a bunch of ways to do this, but I'm going to do this one specific way. So first, let's look at this blue line. This blue line is going to be somewhere up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put X's in the regions I know they're not. So I know we're not going to be in this region. I know we're not going to be this little triangle in the middle. I know we're not going to be over here. I know I'm not going to be going off in this direction. Okay, so I just used my blue line. Now let's talk about our black line. Well, the black line is going to be over here going this way. So we're also not over here, we're not over here, but we're also not over in this region. So it looks like we really only have 1, 2 more regions left to check. And if I look at my red line, well, my red line is here going this way. So I'm not going to be here, here, or over here. So that means that the only region that I have left is this region. Let me just make sure this is true for all the lines we have so far. The red line, definitely good over here. The black line, good over here. And the blue line, good over here. So this region that kind of goes out forever this way and this way is bounded by the blue line over here, the red line over here, and the black line over here. So I'm going to try and shade that as best as I can. And there we go. Shade it close to that red line. Okay. Do another layer over here. All right. So what's important to notice is that we're not going to be shading into this little triangle area. We're just in this little area to the left. All right. We're going to stop there for this one. We'll make a new video for example